The only other thing.
All right. So, welcome, Neil.
Thank you. Thanks for having me today.
All right. All right. Can you see me well on the screen?
Yes, sir. Looking good.
Okay, got it. All right. So view. Okay. All right. So, welcome to our podcast series. This is just probably about the fifth one we're doing. So thank you, Neil, for joining. Neil is currently the president and CEO of New Century Careers, that's based in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Is that right?
That's correct.
All right. And your organization is focused on workforce development for regional manufacturing, bridging the talent gap across southwestern Pennsylvania through education, skill building, and career readiness.
That's perfect. That's a great summary of what we're about.
Okay, awesome, awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey? How did this, can you walk us through your journey to becoming CEO at New
Hmm.
Century Careers?
Yeah, sure. So my story is probably not unique. It's probably being replayed a lot by a lot of people across the nation. But I'm from the generation where to kind of move on and get into a career, my small little town that I grew up, we had about three different choices. One was college, one was military service, or the third would be working within industries in like rural America. So at the time when I was younger, the glass industry was prevalent in my area. So glass industry, bottle making, and all the different industries that went around that. So um, I chose the college route. I thought it would be the best place to get going in my life. Um, and I graduated successfully with a bachelor's degree. But like many in my generation, we were in a recession coming into about 1991, so the jobs were not that plentiful. And basically, I had to reinvent myself. And quite frankly, I stumbled into manufacturing through a relationship with my wife's uncle, who really kind of said to me, "Hey, you've done college, but have you ever thought about doing this thing called an apprenticeship?" And I begged him off for about a year, and he wore me down. And I finally took an apprenticeship test, and I was able to be entered in then as an apprentice, where I served not only one but two consecutive apprenticeships in my career with a really well known world class tool and die and component manufacturing company in Freeport, Pennsylvania. Um, and like all success stories, was able to try different things within my organization. I was able to fail at different things, learn from those mistakes, and keep moving up in the corporation. So worked in production, quality assurance, sales, marketing, business development. Ended my career there in HR and in talent development. And Donald, that's when I really got my interest peaked with not only customers and servicing customers to a high level, but really understanding fully that the way all companies are successful, it's the talent, it's the development of the people. So this opportunity posed itself in 2016. I joined the organization as a program manager, working a Pennsylvania state grant, working to build awareness and bring in non-traditional individuals into apprenticeships. And from that, then in 2020, I was able to assume the roles and responsibilities after about a 3-year transition with the co-founder of the organization. And quite frankly, here I am today as president and CEO and trying to give back and build more successful people for careers in manufacturing.
All right, thank you for that, Neil. I just want to go back a little second, just kind of reiterate with our audience. So, New Century Careers, you currently based in Pennsylvania. Is that correct? Just
Yeah.
all right.
Yes.
Okay. Can
Yeah,
you?
we're headquartered here in Pittsburgh. We're in what's called the South Side neighborhood of Pittsburgh, and then we also are operating. The first 1 month of our programming is also being held in the neighborhood of Homewood, PA. which is
Okay.
a suburb here of Pittsburgh.
Sure.
And then we also have adult evening education in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, several miles, almost an hour and 20 minutes east of Pittsburgh, where we're working collaboratively there with the Eastern Westmoreland Career and Technical Center. So
Okay, got it. And you would say like currently how many employees do you have in your careers?
yeah, we have about 5 full-time employees, and we have probably close to about 10 to a dozen part-time instructors at all of the different locations and sites.
All right, and just we try to keep the to give a broader prospect of how you are doing, you know, revenue based. So, would you say are you doing, or are you over $2 million, or are you under 2 million?
No, no, we're just under that. We're just a little over $1 million revenue base.
Okay.
Very diversified revenue. We are a nonprofit, so we're supported by a diverse group of funders, including a little federal funding, Pennsylvania state funding. We have great support from our Department of Commerce, DCED, and also from our Labor and Industry Department here in the state. And then Pittsburgh is really well known for foundations and corporate support. So we've got a little bit of that support coming in as well. So
Okay, awesome. So based on your what you've told us, let's just talk a little bit about innovation and work strategy, right? So
mhm.
the question here would be what shifts have you seen in workforce needs, especially within the manufacturing and adjacent industries, like government, contracting, or IT?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, from my experience, when I first got into the industry, it was very focused on training of a certain skill or a certain trade within the industry.
Sure.
So there, when you started into an apprenticeship, some of the apprenticeships were very tailored, and mainly it was around what I would call the traditional skills. So
Sure.
blueprint reading, understanding geometric dimension and tolerancing, the use of applied mathematics, the proper use of hand gauging and hand tools, and then the safe operation of specific production style equipment. But what we've seen over the last 10 or 15 years has been a blended approach of new technology that's coming into our industry that's changing the idea that when we train someone, historically speaking, we would have trained for a job role that we call a machinist. But
Okay.
I would say that even up to including 2018, our board and our leadership team recognized that these new technologies are coming into play. So the new technology of like robotics, automation, AI, 3D and additive printing. Those technologies are coming and impacting to the point where we changed our mission statement from saying that we were training machinists and then supporting their growth and job placement with area manufacturers to say that we're training and we're providing inclusive access to training for the word advanced manufacturing technicians. So there is a blended approach that, yes, an individual is still going to be producing components or working in the tool and die industry, but they're being impacted on the job real time by the introduction of the automation, robotics, and all the new IT that's coming in, AI, digitization of work processes and the like. So we're trying to make an individual not just what we would consider a hands-on manufacturer, but more of a technician.
Okay, so you will reconfirm that with your company, you are interested in, or are you currently building programs that is responding to both current employer needs and future market changes based with all the new revolution with the AI and the automation and robotics and all that.
Absolutely. So for instance, in the last 2 years, through some of our grant making processes,
Okay.
we've been able to secure and obtain, for instance, 3D additive printers. We've included and gained robotics directly into our center. And we're in the process of building out curriculum and skills building and adding it to our traditional pre-apprenticeship program. That's all based on what you said was based on the input of our area manufacturers saying, hey, New Century Careers, we'd like to see those skills added to what a technician has when we hire them from you.
Okay, and just to reiterate from there, do you I know you're a nonprofit, so do you currently have any federal partners that can support your company or your goal or your
Mhm.
infrastructure better? Do you currently have that in the making, or do you think it's something you need?
No, a little. It's always a little bit of both, Donald. Right now, we currently have a grant from the Employment and Training Administration, Department of Labor, that is funding and supporting our efforts to bring the new programming to our site in Homewood at the University of Pittsburgh's Community Engagement Center. The goal of that is to diversify the inflow of applicants to additional non-traditional individuals who may not have ever even known about or even thought about how they could have a place within manufacturing. Also, there's a lot of agencies here in Pittsburgh that are receiving other federal funds that work with us and have been partners for us with us for many years, including like the ARM Institute, which is a Manufacturing USA Institute here in Pittsburgh. Also, our local MEP, Catalyst Connection. They have all been great champions of the overall goal of improving the outcomes and the efficiencies of small, medium, and large manufacturers, not only here in the region, but in the nation. So we've worked with and interfaced with them quite a bit to make sure that we're bringing our 25 years of success to the table at those organizations and hopefully impacting outcomes across the nation.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for that. So, just I know you've been doing this for a while, and thank you for being consistent. So, with what leadership lessons have stood out for you while navigating workforce development in a changing economy?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I would suggest and really stands out to me is the whole feedback loop and the listening sessions.
Okay.
I think a lot of times organizations can get comfortable with what we do, and we're very proud of what we do. And especially an organization like ours celebrating our 25th anniversary, that really builds into our mindset that, geez, we must know what we're doing because we've been doing it for that long. But
Right.
I think if we're honest with ourselves, looking back even 5 years, 10 years, or maybe even 1 year ago,
Mhm.
you have to constantly be evaluating what you're doing, and you have to constantly listen to what your industry needs because you can quickly take on and adapt and try to bring on new technology. But if the manufacturers, the individuals that are hiring our trainees, if they aren't using it themselves or they're not ready to deploy that technology, we're training someone for something that doesn't exist yet. So I'd say the biggest thing is being willing and able to have the feedback loops and the listening sessions and building upon having committees around this organization, whether it's our board or special advisory committees that we have,
Right.
having the folks come to the table and tell us what do they need and how can we best provide the solution to the need for the skilled labor.
Okay, and I would say just thank you for that as well. Just so this part here will I just kind of want to just get your feedback on, let's say if you have a few success stories that you're proud of that New Century Career have accomplished. And it doesn't matter the time, but but any success stories that you want to share, and then just maybe an opportunity that you're currently facing as a CEO that's definitely something that is a heavy lift for you at the moment.
Sure. I would like to think that some of the most recent accomplishments have been our ability to maintain and expand upon the registered apprenticeship model.
Okay.
So the ability for us to be a third party group that helps companies meet their needs for training and upskilling of incumbent workers through the apprenticeship model. So we're a sponsor of a 4-year machinist program. So that goes beyond our 2-year pre-apprenticeship program we have with adults. And we also offer a 2-year robotics technician program that was registered right before COVID, but has yet to be launched. But due to some very kind funding from a regional grant group, we'll be hiring that new apprenticeship coordinator to launch the robotics technician program. And then because of a recent Pennsylvania State Department of Labor Schools to Work grant, we are now in a position to begin working on a traditional pre-apprenticeship program that will couple New Century Careers expertise in manufacturing and curriculum development. But the outcomes is working with 3 schools within the city of Pittsburgh. One is Pittsburgh Public Schools of Brashear, the machine technology program students there. And the other 2 I'm really excited about are charter schools, City Charter High and Passport Academy, where we're going to work with those students to, again, work very closely with their STEM curriculum to build in and help support a realistic outcome of them being able to go into a career in manufacturing upon graduation from their respective schools.
Okay.
So those are some of the recent case studies and successes I think that we could share.
Sure.
Heavy lift is always funding. I'm kind of I'm optimistic with some of the things that I've been seeing on not only from the state level, but also the federal level. There's the resurgence of understanding that not every trade that we have and not every good paying career necessarily has to have a college education attached to it. I'm also willing to admit, though, I believe that college can be an and situation, not an or. So I know for a fact many of folks have gone through apprenticeships and then completed successful college educations in fields that have helped them grow in their career versus, say, having a college education that really wasn't something that was going to help build their career pathway. So challenges is awareness, getting the community involved, and again, just making sure we secure the right amount of funding. Our program's unique, Donald. Our program, our pre-apprenticeship is for adults 18 and older, up to 600 hours of training. And as long as that individual isn't already currently employed in manufacturing, it's free to them. And it also includes resume writing, financial literacy programming that's provided by PNC Bank here in Pittsburgh, and then allows us then to work with that individual to get them hired with one of over 130 of our partner companies. So all tuition free. So when you think about a budget of a little over $1 million, that's a lot of work by a lot of people to get the story out there. But it's also helps keep us focused on really being focused on good outcomes, so that the students are highly sought after and not just program completers, but actually able to make a commitment and also make a contribution quickly to their employer when they're hired.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
And just to, as we're wrapping up, let's, if you could rewire the workforce system from scratch, what's one thing you would change immediately?
Yeah, I think we need to stay focused on getting to the youth sooner. I don't know if many people remember, but I'm from the generation, and especially being from Pittsburgh, I'm going to throw a name out that might date me, but Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Right.
If you remember watching those programs back in the day, Fred was really good about connecting to the local community here in Pittsburgh and doing short tours. Honestly, if I think about when I was a kid, the first time I ever saw something being made, it was through Fred Rogers. It was through Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. It was crayon manufacturing. And as a kid, I was just dumbstruck with this equipment and all this color and movement. And it's something inside of me, I think, sparked back then. And I realized, hey, things need to be made, and they could be made here. Did I fully understand it and appreciate it? Maybe not. But I also remember being a young person growing up and being taken on tours when I was in elementary school of the local post office. We went to the bakery. We went to the local police station. We went to the community library. And then I realized that was a way for education to bring you out into the real world and see things being done and seeing the professionals that are doing it so
Sure.
that maybe we could learn what our passion was going to be. So if I were to rewire, I would definitely do as many connections between elementary schools, junior high schools, in with tours of manufacturing, hospitals, even taking them in and seeing like IT facilities, letting people see maybe what does a data center look like, right? We hear about it. It's talked about in the business news that there's a new data center here, but do people really grasp what that means? So that to me, that's a broad educational thing that I would change is how do we build awareness around manufacturing and advanced technologies? I think it's opening the doors and bringing people in and having that direct connection between the employers and the community and the youth and the parents. So
Awesome, awesome. So I really want to thank you for coming on board. But before we go, is there anything, and again, I guess you can send your target audience, or I would say the work in terms of your workforce in manufacturing,
mhm.
uh, it's New Century Career. You're more targeting towards youth in that local PA area, or just anyone that's maybe within a certain age that's
Sure.
looking for maybe a new way of or new career development. Is that your focus, I would say?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely focus on the 18 to 24-year-olds.
Okay.
We try to get to the youth or younger youth as they move on. But we work with folks of all ages and all backgrounds.
Okay.
We're very firmly committed. Again, I mentioned it earlier that our mission statement is inclusive access to training. So
Sure.
that's men, that's women, that's people of color. That might be individuals that have had some incarceration or criminal impacted in their background, but we don't judge. We give people second chances because we know that from the skills we provide and are able to impart upon these folks, they can find the success that they're looking for. I personally, we talk a lot about career success, and that immediately think you immediately go to the wages. I also want people to find that they're professionally and personally uplifted. Right? I want them to someday realize that I'm just not making a part to print and putting it down the line, but I'm actually changing someone's life because the quality of part and product I just made might impact someone. So if they go to a medical company, say in Pittsburgh, and they're building and they're machining hips or knees, I don't want them just to make that part. I want them to make them realize that they're impacting someone's life for a better quality of life. And from that, boy, the satisfaction just goes through the roof. So I want people to take pride in making things here in the U.S. as well.
Okay, and how does your enrollment go? Do you have a certain a maximum allowance per annum or per 6 month or per
Mhm.
program? And what is that gauge to just let these audience know
Sure.
how to go about that?
Yeah. So typically on our South Side campus, it's a daylight program Monday through Friday. And what we do is we attempt to start classes here, a cohort of about 7 to 10 students once every 2 months.
Okay.
And because we started our Homewood operations, that is on the opposite month, but it's only the first month of training, but that's every other month in Homewood.
Okay.
And then we also have evening classes available here on the South Side, and evening classes are the primary classes at Latrobe. And how we do that is as soon as someone goes through the qualification process and they qualify for the training, they can start whatever night they want in the evening and begin by themselves. We don't necessarily start them as a group or a cohort of people. The
Okay.
daylight programs, we still are doing more of a traditional 7 to 10 person cohort.
All right. All right. Well, that's all we have for you, Neil, for today. Thank you so much for coming on board,
Sure, thank you.
and we appreciate you for featuring on our podcast.
Well, thanks a lot. I hope somebody learned something out there, and thanks again, Donald, for asking us to be on your show.
Sure, and you'll be hearing from me soon also.
All
Thanks.
right, excellent. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.